And we are back with episode 201. 201. I can't believe it's been 200 episodes. But yet here we are, and here's the modified triumvirate of power here, sans Hair Metal Rob. And it does feel a little weird, but you know what? We got this.
We got this.
So,
especially this episode, man. I was I started pulling stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's just too much.
Yeah, there is way too much. We could probably make this like a 3-month episode.
Right.
But I tried to pull a couple of things that I don't know. Instead of like voting for the best live album, I just thought some of the things that I actually go to on a regular basis just to check it out.
That's what I did. I just pulled favorites.
Especially on the guys on the sports, the morning sports talk here in local Dallas, they do a music segment, which is kind of interesting. And they had a guy on there that talked about the ticket prices going crazy these days, and how all the money works, and when you pay for the ticket, who gets what percentage and how, and so part of those, it helped me understand at least why there's so many astronomical fees. I don't like it, but at least I have a better understanding, or a clearer understanding. But yeah, I guess everything costs more money these days. I mean, I remember
it's almost all going one direction.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing Priest in the early '80s at the Salt Palace in Salt Lake City, Utah, and it was $12, and we're all like, $12 for a concert ticket? I mean, oh my gosh, it was unbelievable. But here we are. I just about
even since the pandemic, I went to see Metallica right before the pandemic, and actually right after the pandemic at the stadium at the Falcon Stadium, and it was $85 on the floor. I just went to another concert, and the cheapest tickets on the floor, in the little pit area, same exact spot, were $250 for a less popular band, and they sold. I mean, it's insane, the price.
Yeah. Well, they talked about, and they brought up Taylor Swift, who we know is the biggest pop star right now going, and they said that this tour that she's on is going to net her or make her, after all the bills are paid, like $1.5 billion. And that's billion with a B. And so it's insane. So all that being said, this episode's probably even more appropriate because I love live music. Steph and I go to as many live shows as we can. But sometimes it's just cost prohibitive, but it's always kind of cool if you have a good live recording of some of your favorite bands. So that's the way I looked at it. If I can't go see somebody because of the price or the schedule or whatever, I mean, it's kind of fun to sit down and pop on a live record. And I've got some that I listen to almost on a monthly basis. And so we can talk about it. So any shout outs? I mean, I guess I'll start since I'm blathering away here. I'm going to shout out to Princess Kiki. She's in the hospital. I'm hoping to go visit later tonight. That's the Queen of the Crypt, Steph's daughter. And anyway, we're hoping the best for her. The doctors can figure it out. So shout out to her. Good vibes and healing power sent her way. And Bazooka Charlie's barbershop, I had a professional beard trim this week. So it was pretty fun to be pampered a little bit, and I think I look better. I don't know. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Steph loves the beard, so here we go. Scott, you got anybody? You got any shout outs?
Nope, not really.
Nope. You got no new releases on Rocks Records or No Life Till Metal or nothing?
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff coming out, but
you got your copy.
Warner. How about this? I don't know. It might be too dark for someone to see in here, but
ooh, Believer, I love it.
There's going to be only 100 copies of the cassette available. There'll be vinyl. There'll be CDs. 2 different versions of the CDs: the gold disc or the silver disc.
Oh,
the gold disc of Extraction from Mortality will have the full demo as well as several tracks off compilations that they were on. So it's got like 6 or 7 bonus tracks.
Cool.
No live garbage. Everything is studio.
Yeah, well, we are talking about live stuff. The first time ever saw Believer was at a church, and it was pretty amazing because a friend of mine who I know had never stepped into a church in his life took me to church after he picked me up at the airport at John Wayne Orange County International Airport, and we went to the Crystal Cathedral there, Robert Schuller's little hut over by Walt Disney, and wow, it was super impressive. It was oh shoot, what was the one with Darius Array on it? The one just before that album.
After it, Sanity Obscure.
Yeah, Sanity Obscure, and it was on
Extracted
that
from
tour.
Mortality was the first one.
And it was wow, I was blown away how good they were. So anyway, Steve-O,
Yeah.
got anybody?
Not for me. I'm ready to jump in.
Let's jump in then.
I'm going to say that if anybody is interested in that Warner that he showed, you also have the Applehead there, don't you?
Yeah.
Dude, I really like that. I'm a little surprised that I like it as much as I do because
so Applehead, for you guys that don't know, it's Greg Manier from
Crucified.
Crucified.
Okay.
They started off as a punk band, then they went crossover, then they went straight up thrash. This, I haven't heard this one yet, but the first album almost has like a doom kind of sludge feel to it. And I really dug it. Like I said, I haven't listened to that one yet, so I can't say. But the first one, Scott talked me into buying it. I wasn't going to buy it, and I played it. I mean, it stayed in my car for a good 3 or 4 months in regular rotation.
I pulled that thing up on YouTube, and man, it's pretty impressive.
It's
I dig
really
it.
well done, and it's anyhow. If anybody's interested in either one of those or the Anger is Art, there is just a handful of vinyl copies left. There's still plenty of CD copies, but if you want vinyl, get them quick because they were all 100 and 200 pressings. So,
well, yeah, buy it while you can. You know, someone asked me the other day, I left something behind and I went back to get it and it's gone. Well, of course. And so if you can afford
done that.
Yeah, if you can afford to get it while you're if you can afford to get it while you're standing there, man, I just grab it. Sometimes I even say, okay, I won't eat lunch for 2 days, but I'm grabbing this record because I know if I go back, it won't be there.
And they're done that too.
Records that are thousands of dollars now that used to be $30 or $40.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, you guys ready to get into this? Some favorite live albums?
Yeah.
I'm gonna start off real quick with a new one that I just recently received that I've been listening to a lot, but Live at the Fillmore '96, Ozric Tentacles. Someone had to say it, so I just did.
Well, you know what? Let me just stop you right there, big fella, because one of my favorites of all times is Live Under Slunky by Ozric Tentacles. In fact, this is the first thing I heard by them. The record store that I was at, it was a Vinyl Edge in Houston. He didn't have this, but he had Strangitude. So Strangitude was the first actual album. But yes, Live Under Slunky. So yeah, and I even have the flyer from one of the shows, and then it's signed by the band. So
nice.
Yes, you gotta keep Tony Clem happy, and we got to keep the legacy of Rob intact with our Ozric Tentacles calls.
This is one that, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Steve. Show a few. I'll go last.
This is one that so I mean, most of you know this. This was last concert in Japan from Deep Purple. So a couple of years ago, they did the full 2 CD, the full show of this one. This is Tommy Bolin on guitar. It's a fantastic live. This is the record's good too, but I think the record's only like 7 or 8 songs, whereas this is the full show, and it's fantastic. And this isn't even Tommy Bolin at his best, and it's still amazing. Yeah, there you go. I thought about pulling that one, but I wanted to mostly stick with metal.
Well, back in my day, that was heavy metal.
Yeah.
So, and this
is no, and that's why I grabbed it. You know.
Yeah. Well, this is a Brazilian copy, but check this out. I found this a couple of years ago at Hog Wild in San Antonio. But this is the Japanese version of Made in Japan. So it just has a different cover, but I usually play the Brazilian copy because it's the cleanest, and the vinyl seems thicker. Surprisingly, usually the import stuff is a little thinner.
I don't
But-
think that Japanese version sounds as. I've got a German pressing of it that sounds
Mm.
really good that I usually play, but I have the Japanese just because I feel like I need it.
Well, and that it's kind of like this album, you know,
Yeah.
Unleashed in the East. You've got to have the Japanese version of that, and this one has got the extra bonus tracks on the 7-inch single.
Right.
So, so there are some albums that just have to, if I had Toxic Holocaust live from England, I would have to get the English.
And there is
copy of
a
that.
bootleg too of the full show somewhere.
There is, yeah. I have the CD. It's a Norwegian CD. A company in Norway put it out, and it's like is it like 3 days worth? It's Osaka.
I can't
Sapporo,
remember. Yeah, it's
Osaka,
like,
Sapporo, and Tokyo.
mine's a 2 CD version that's got all of it.
Yeah. So anyway, so it's
Hey, well, since we're discussing Japanese pressings for the moment, I'm not asking you guys because I already asked you guys. We didn't know for sure, but I picked this up recently. I love Jimi Hendrix live, and I like this album a lot. But it's got 2 obies on it, as you can see. The normal one here, and then this red one, which I assume it means promo or something to that effect.
So
No,
anybody,
it's not the promo. I don't know. I meant to ask my wife last night because she can read hiragana, katakana, and some kanji. That's kanji. I'm just wondering if maybe that's not Japanese. If maybe that's Chinese, and that's like it was sent to China for the Chinese market. Because I have some Japanese pressings that are like that, but I've never seen that obi before. So I'll ask my mom, or unless somebody else knows.
yeah, if anybody watching knows, I'd be curious if anybody knows for sure.
I've
but
seen
That's
one
not
on
the promo.
I've seen one on Discogs, but I've never seen one live or in my hand or whatever.
Cool. So I guess am I up? You're up, John.
Yeah,
you haven't
just
showed
go-
one yet, really.
No, well,
You've been showing
one
one
just for Scott.
Nice.
wow.
That was actually a bootleg. Here, show it again.
Yeah, it was a
I'm gonna-
cassette bootleg, wasn't it originally?
There you go. It was a cassette bootleg originally, and then it got pressed to. It was a cassette bootleg, then it got pressed to CD by somebody, and then finally it came out officially on Rox Records. But you could tell it's a bootleg recording, even still. But it was early, 96.
Yeah, it's pretty raw.
I only pulled one CD, and it seems like we have a good flow going around the horn. But I only pulled one CD, and this is Dream Theater Live at the Marquee. And
That's a good one.
Yeah, this was
year is
early.
that?
This was early. This was 93.
Early.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And man, and I have a bunch of other live recordings from them. That's part of the fan club thing. But this thing is just punishing. It's so intricate. There's a song that isn't on any album. It's sort of like a jam session. But it's really, really good. If you can find this, obviously it's an import, as you can see by the sticker. Anyway, Metropolis and Fortune and Lies, and it just got some great songs, and it just jams. So
I didn't realize Metropolis was that early of a song.
yeah, a lot of those songs were they had a huge catalog. They were basically instrumental until they added there was, I can't remember the Italian fellow that was singing for them originally, before James LeBray joined them, but they were basically an instrumental jam band, and they have a huge 6 or 8 or 10 maybe just jam records.
I haven't opened this yet, but have you seen this that came out recently?
I have seen it. I don't know anything about it though.
Yeah, it's the demos from 85 and 86.
Okay. Well, I've got the CDs sitting right over here, so interesting.
Well,
Think of it. Go ahead.
I'm going to go next.
Yeah, go.
But no one's going to be any shocked by the one on top of this thing. I kind of find out when I was looking for live albums that not only do I really like live albums, but I tend to collect like lots of different versions of the same damn album.
Sure.
So, I mean, this is not going to be any surprise. So I was like, well, I do love this album a lot, but I actually like this album a lot too.
I love that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amboy Dukes. And I was like, damn, I have like Here's another version of
That's
it.
a great one right there. That
Here's another version of it.
do you
Here's
have
another version of it.
what do you think of Intensities in 10 Cities?
I like that one too.
Yeah.
One of
Except
my
that's all new.
favorites of his is actually from, is it 79? Live in 79? Oh, I should have grabbed it. I was going to. It's
Yeah,
a
that's a good
recent
one,
release
too.
that he did that's fantastic.
I like that one too, but here's a recent release that I think is fantastic. One of his best live albums. And it's
Yeah, I have
Full
that
Bl-
one. That's
Full
great.
Bluntal Nudity, which has never
Yeah.
been on vinyl, at least not officially. But the whole dang thing is just so heavy. It's so
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
well recorded, and he's just him and his band were just at the top of their game here.
Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
the one
Great
with
show.
is that Tommy Aldrich and Jeff Pilson?
Yep.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it's Pilsen.
I thought it was.
I think it's Marco Mendoza, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Tommy Aldridge and Marco Mendoza.
Okay. Yeah. Those
Yep,
guys aren't
so
bad
great.
either.
Yep. So anyhow, I mean, no, it's no surprise that I'm a big Nugent fan.
No,
But,
I love that. I love that.
Rebel Live
record.
Gonzo, I've got like 4 vinyl copies, and actually that Japanese pressing you saw there was given to me by somebody I know really well. And
And speaking of Japanese promos, that's a Japanese promo.
oh,
Yeah,
how do you know?
if you pull the album out, it's got the little promo in hiragana across the top
Oh.
of the label.
Right on.
Well, how about
Cool.
this?
So yeah, there you go. Go ahead. Somebody else can go. I've got a lot to show. So I mean,
No, I got a ton to show too. Now, I know this isn't a.
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing is not live. However, side B is live, and
it's
I
quite
love
good.
this record. I go to this thing like once a month. This is like Lonesome Crow, ZZ Top, Fandango, and you better blow your top, but you might not have no top to blow, but you better blow what you got, baby. But
I went down
anyway.
a really large rabbit hole recently because I'm working on some stuff for Phil Kagi and
Oh, we're
Glass
getting
Heart.
there, Fraser. I promise.
And anyhow, there's a rumor that went around that Jimi Hendrix had said, was interviewed by, I believe it was Rolling Stone magazine, and they asked him, how does it feel to be the greatest guitar player ever? And the rumor is that he said, I don't know, you'll have to ask Phil Kagi. So I went down a big rabbit hole trying to figure out if that was. I kind of figured it wasn't. And from what I could find online, it actually wasn't true. What he did say was, I don't know, you'll have to ask Billy Gibbons.
Oh, see,
Ooh.
I found where an actual magazine article, and I don't know if they're sourcing it from somewhere where it said Rory Gallagher, because they were actually together in England at the time.
I saw Rory Gallagher as well in there, but
Yeah.
the Phil Kagi one is pretty prominent, and I mean, I wouldn't doubt he said it. Phil Kagi's a great guitar player, but very different from Jimi Hendrix. Anyhow,
Well,
sorry.
I understood that this guy was Hendrix's favorite guitar player. So Robin Trower live, this is between this and Bridge of Sighs, and I'm telling you, the new one is spectacular. You really need to invest in that. But
it's coming in the mail.
yeah, but Robin Trower live, this is exceptional. And who used to be Hendrix's roadie when he was in England? Anybody know that?
Lemmy Kilmister.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Do you have this one?
I sure do.
That's another fantastic one.
I love the King Biscuit stuff. And
I almost grabbed. I've got the Motorhead as one of my favorite Motorhead lives. Is the King Biscuit. I could have grabbed. I thought about that because I have like.
that
15
whole series, Kansas is on there. The whole series is awesome. Foghat. In fact, someone Scotty mentioned Foghat Live, which I really, really dig. That's a great record. A lot of energy there. I mean, I guess what does make a great live album while we're talking about it?
Yeah.
There you go. What in your opinions?
I remember when I got this as a kid, man, I stared forever at those pictures on the collage on the back cover. They just look like the greatest band ever, just from the photos and the crowds, and it's just such a great live album. But anyhow, sorry to interrupt, Ed.
No, I was just gonna say, well, I did the same thing with Kiss. I mean,
Me too.
I know you're wearing the shirt, and I was gonna pull Kiss Alive because everybody, I mean, I think just about every metalhead, in fact, spent some time with a couple of friends from Houston over the weekend, and they, Kiss Alive. It's almost the go-to.
Yeah.
What got you into heavier music? And everyone says Kiss Alive, and
Mm-hmm.
you can't deny that. I mean, Yeah.
See,
there you go.
I'm from the next generation, so me it was unfortunately it was Motley Crue, but
Well,
got me into heavier music. But
This copy is actually this is a Canadian copy, and the insert is signed by the whole band. It was actually
yeah.
given to me by a friend of mine, aka Captain Howdy, who's no longer goes by that name, but forever he'll be Captain Howdy to me.
Okay, Papa Wayne bringing the goods today. Frank Marino.
I thought about I had it in my hand.
I had it in my hand too, and I just thought I have such a huge stack that I just stopped.
I could have I've got like 15 live Frank Marinos.
Which one? I mean, I love everything he's done live.
Yeah.
I
Actually,
like
that
his
was my
live
favorite.
And that thing right there is phenomenal.
Both of them are great.
And the box. Have you seen the Blu-ray or the DVDs 3-disc set?
No.
Oh my gosh, that thing is. It has 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's got 5 full shows on it.
What's sad is the COVID retired him because he was about to do a tour right before COVID.
Yep.
He just announced it, and COVID canceled it, and he's retired now. So
yep, it's a bummer.
Oh, this is my all-time favorite Iron Maiden. This is one of my all-time favorite live albums, Beast over Hammersmith. Everybody prefers what's their big one? Live
After Death or
Live After Death. This has always been my favorite. Just a 10 out of 10 show. So if you guys don't have this one, it's and actually they just did the release. They just released this on vinyl for the first time, but even CD, to get this back in the day, you had to buy the box set or that metal box set.
Right.
And I was lucky enough. There was a real limited number that were released on Sanctuary Records, and they were going for. I mean, just this CD was going for like $150 for a while there. You can get it now pretty easily, but fantastic live show.
All right, am I up next? Or
go ahead. We're scatter shooting right at this point.
This is an obvious one, and I'm surprised John didn't already mention it.
Well, since you brought it up,
yep. You might as well pull out. I'm sure one of you guys has Live in the Heart of the City too. You might as well pull that out too.
This one here is, if you ever find a copy of this thing is fantastic.
Yeah, I have. Is that the bootleg?
It is.
Yeah, I have that too. That's great.
Did you buy the bootleg of the gal in the red bathing suit when you were at Henry's, Scott?
No.
That thing is killer too. It's basically Flight of the Rainbow and In Trance. That's that era, and it's really really good.
This live, what I like about first of all, the sound quality on this thing's fantastic. That's a great album. But they don't do that silly rock and roll medley, which is the only thing I really don't care about on there. But there is a couple other tracks that didn't make it onto here, so this is really worth picking up if you can find a copy.
Fraser mentioned Overkill, that Live over Offenhausen, or the
I was gonna grab that. I don't. I think it's in my truck. Yeah, Overhausen.
Overhausen. That thing destroys. And then they have another one that is
here. This one, fan-freaking-tastic.
It's got the orange cover. Yeah, there you go.
Wrecking Everything Live. I love this album. I listen to this thing quite a bit. Yep. I've seen Overkill live like 4 or 5 times.
They never ever disappoint.
I just saw him a few months ago, and I think he sounds better now than he did 10 years ago. I mean,
and he quit smoking too, so that may have
his
added
voice
to his.
Is amazing.
TJ says something about Dale Watson. Anybody know about Dale Watson, a country and western singer? You're gonna have to explain that one, brother.
I'm gonna say something that everybody knows that thrash is probably my favorite genre in the metal, but most thrash live albums suck. Like Nuclear
Assault, Good Friendly Violent Fun by Exodus.
There's a few of it. There's not few, but there's some great Nuclear Assault's live album blows.
Yeah,
it's just
agreed.
Not good.
I thought Binge and Purge was pretty good.
Who?
Binge and Purge.
How about Anger is Art? Fast as Fuck. This is one brutal freaking live album. I mean, I love thrash. I just think there's a lot of sloppy live albums. These guys were, I mean, you would swear they recorded this in the studio. It's so dang tight, but you can tell it's live, and it's really, really well done.
Well, I have an Exodus. I have the Exodus Good Friendly Violent Fun, and then they did that. What was the other one with the green cover? And those are both.
I like the Good Friendly Violent Fun EP. That's a fun one.
Yeah, but and then I've
the
got
other one that they did was when Paul Bailoff came back.
yeah,
That
yeah.
thing's fantastic as well. Yeah, it's really well done.
But like you
The
said,
first,
one of the few thrash records that actually sounds decent.
I got a little story about that live album, the Paul Bailoff returning one. They do what's the name of the song they did on there that they ended up recording on the next studio album? Piranha.
Oh, right.
They did Piranha on there, and I was playing that album in my room, and my wife walks in and she goes, "When did you record that?" I'm like, "What are you
Oh
talking
yeah,
about?
you told me about that. Yeah.
When did you record that song?" I'm like, "That's not me." "Yes, it is. You're lying to me." I said, "Honey,
Wow.
that's not us." She goes, "That's where that sounds like you singing. That sounds like Ultimatum to me." I'm like, "It's not. It's Exodus, honey."
That's a huge compliment right there.
Did you
But
say
it
I
was
wish
just
I
funny.
made
She
EXO
swore
film or
Paul Bailoff was me singing. So
Hmm.
anyhow, that's kind of funny. But hey, let me pull out another obvious one since
Sure.
people keep saying it in the comments.
Yeah.
I mean, I love.
I'll let
I'm
you
a
guys
Fieldy
pull that
fanatic.
stuff out.
Well, and this box set is proof. Everybody says that whole live album was done in the studio. This is all the shows it was pulled from, and you can hear in the shows how little it was actually edited. I mean, these are all fantastic.
Yeah, the whole thing is great. I'm glad I love that there are a lot of these classic albums are getting this now where they take all the albums that made them. I would love for Double Live Gonzo to get this treatment. I doubt it will because people hate Nugent right now, but
Or
because they don't like
Intensities in 10 Cities.
qualities. Yeah, that would be great
Yeah.
too. But
Yep.
anyhow, this thing
Here's
is
the
just
other one that
superb.
we should probably. This is the same. This is all. Yeah.
Had it up next.
Add it up.
Have you seen this one, John, with all the
Yeah.
shows?
I have. That's killer. Was that
Yeah,
a
that was
record store? That was a record store day thing, wasn't it?
No,
This? I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't
No?
think
I
so.
ordered it on Amazon years
Okay.
ago.
I pre-ordered it on Amazon too.
I want to say this is before the pandemic, wasn't it?
Oh
I
yeah,
don't-
maybe so.
It's been a while.
I've got
TJ
one more of those
says-
too. It's kind of outside the metal genre a little bit, but I'm a big fan of this band. But this is Live at Budokan. The original album is great, but this is the full both shows, both nights,
Okay.
and a live DVD of the concert, and a poster, and a book, and interviews with them talking about the show. And it's pretty funny hearing him talk about why he was talking so slow to the crowd. He's like, "Well, I was trying to enunciate so the people who spoke Japanese could understand my English."
Yeah.
He's like, "I hadn't been in Japan before. I didn't know."
See,
I have
Pablo-
one more. I have one more non-metal one that I was just listening to this about a week ago. But the BBC sessions from Jimi Hendrix.
Oh yeah.
That's-
If
That's
you guys haven't grabbed the
fantastic.
CD version of this is
I
fantastic.
play that one a lot.
Yeah. Unfortunately, when they did it on LP, it's a one album LP with only like 6 of the songs on it, which makes it. I mean, this is like 40 songs, and
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
I think there's a 2 LP version out there too, but it's still not even anywhere near the CD
Yeah,
version.
I mean, this would have to be like a 4 or 5 LP box set for them to put this on vinyl. It would be worth it though. It's fantastic.
Does anybody
Here's
have
another one.
Testament live at Eindhoven? Oh wow, I love that one. That's got the shows from the forum in LA, right?
Yeah, it's
No,
all
that's all the
the
BBC sessions.
it's all the BBC sessions from Europe, England.
Okay. Oh no,
There's
that's
like 3.
something in the Wild West or something.
Yeah, this is the all BBC sessions. There's like 3 discs. Anyhow,
Well, since you're on the Zeppelin kick, how about this bad boy? Check this out. I can't believe I stumbled across this at a college bookstore.
Oh, is that the full show?
That's the full show.
I have the CD version of that.
Yeah, and it's got the book and the extra inserts and a poster. And the guy cut me a deal. He says it's been sitting here since '97. And I said, okay, I'll take it for whatever you're selling it for. So anyway, song remains the same.
There's a CD version of it, of the full show.
Once again, I'd seen the movie, I don't know, a dozen times until I kind of got my act together, and then in college saw it for the first time without any enhancements, chemical enhancements, and man, have really loved. I mean, I watch it maybe once or twice a year still because it captures Zeppelin perfectly, I think, even with the little vignettes in between the brilliant savagery of Peter Grant and just some of the weird thoughts that they were having.
I've got one more that's non-metal that I didn't pull a lot of non-metal stuff, but this just is one of my all-time. I listen to this one quite a bit, especially in the summertime when I'm out hanging outside the pool.
Oh, look at that! I just happened to be listening to that the other day.
People don't understand that Peter Frampton can really play guitar, man. That dude was.
Oh heck yeah, he can. He was one of the
And he
original
writes great songs
Humble Pie guitar players
with great hooks. And man, if you don't have that, you really should invest.
It really is just a jam. It's a great jam.
TJ
So,
Lewis,
anyhow.
one of my favorite humans, who just had a birthday. Happy birthday there, TJ. Power Trip live in Seattle, which is probably one of their last recordings that just came out on vinyl. Mine's on purple. Papa Wayne said he had to mention the Right Here, Right Now Van Halen live. He's a huge Van Halen fan. In fact, he had just picked up that box set with all the Sammy stuff on it. And Testament, that live at Eindhoven?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Forbidden has one live at Eindhoven too, but I don't think it's quite as good as the Testament one, because the Testament one, didn't it have a song that wasn't on any album?
So they've done two versions of it. They did an EP version of it back in the 80s, and then they did a full, like one or two LP version about 5 years ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
Of the full show, or most of the show, I believe. So.
Oh, somebody mentioned Slayer live. Which one? San Antonio Slayer or?
It's a crime that Sales of Sharon is not on Tokyo Tapes. I kind of agree with that, but
yeah.
I've heard Yuli play that song live a few times. Here's one more that I was kind of curious what you guys think. Snaz by Nazareth. I love Nazareth.
It's not my favorite.
It's a weak live album. Yeah. It's not a great. There's live bootlegs out there that are better than that one.
Yeah.
I have it just came out. I should have pulled it. I don't remember the name of it, but it's a Nazareth live. It's from like 76 or 77 that just got released within the last 5 years. It's really good. It's quite a bit better than Snaz was. Humble Pie live is fantastic. I mean, speaking of Peter Frampton, and who was the other guitar player in Humble Pie?
There you go, Scotty Adams.
Marriott.
Or Marriott, thank you. Oh my God.
Yep.
I didn't even pull this album; just happened to be behind me because I was listening to it the other day.
I pulled one for Rob too because I'm not generally a fan of this band live, but this early show of theirs is a 10 out of 10. I think this is one of the best releases that one of the best things that they've released. But Dokken from Conception live in 1981, this thing is fantastic. If you like the first couple Dokken, I mean, this is better than the first couple Dokken albums. I think definitely worth checking. I think I sent this copy of this to you too, Scott, didn't I?
I have a copy of that. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
That was for Rob.
Of course it is. Well, hey, how about this, Scott?
Him.
Band of Gypsies, Jimi Hendrix.
Love it. There's not a just Jimi Hendrix in general. I love
Hendrix album. I
but
love.
You know that there's
Jimi Hendrix live. There's a second version of it.
Second version. Well, it's not a second version. It's more songs.
Right. That's what I mean. There's a additional.
Here my train.
Volume 2. How's that? That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, 1 and 2. Yeah. So I stumbled across this, and man, of course, I jumped all over it because, like you, I love pretty much anything Hendrix. That live in Stockholm from what is that 70? It's a radio broadcast.
The live at Berkeley. He was getting really aggressive about the Vietnam War, and the version of Machine Gun in that is one of the best live songs I've ever heard.
Love that track.
It's such a great album.
Love that track.
So how about this one, Scott? One of your all-time favorite bands, Live All Over the Place from King's X.
Yep.
I like this whole thing, but the acoustic set on here is fantastic. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. And this kind of reinvigorated because I hadn't listened to King's X in probably a decade or more when I got this. And I went through for a couple months there. That's all I was listening to after I checked this out.
How about this one?
Oh, I didn't even think
about
that.
That's a creeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was them being pretty damn heavy for their time. I mean, no one's going to say they were metal, but regardless,
Well,
Definitely a
going,
proto metal, if nothing else.
I mean,
yeah,
all of that UK glam. I mean, that's the early days of punk and metal. I mean, it all came from there. They don't get
hey,
a lot of credit for it, but
is this metal Blue Oyster Cult on your feet or on your knees? That was a staple back in my Ute when I was a Ute.
If you would have asked anybody in 1977, 78 if it was heavy metal, they'd say yes, it was.
Yep.
If you ask anybody now, they'd say it's light rock.
did you guys know that Patti Smith was almost the lead singer for Blue Oyster Cult?
Who?
Patti Smith.
Really?
I didn't know
Wow.
this, and apparently she's written like 6 or 7 songs for Blue Oyster Cult.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was just reading up. I got one of her albums recently, and I was blown away by how good it was. She's somebody I've always known about. She's had hit songs, and I was reading some stuff about her, and sure, they had a whole thing about her connection with Blue Oyster Cult and how they talked to her about actually recording, being their singer, and she actually wrote on like 4 or 5 of their albums she's written and co-written. Yeah, there you go.
Well, this isn't heavy metal, but it's still one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Grand Funk Live, and Caught in the Act is good, but I like this one better. This one's less polished. This is more crazy heavy rock. It's less polished. But I do like
I
Caught in
like
the
it a
Act.
lot.
Yeah.
along the same vein, kind of. I just saw the Eagles I went to see them the other night live, and Joe Walsh, still his guitar playing is
That
amazing.
dude is a stud, isn't he?
And it made me pull. I mean, this is a horrible recording, but man, the James Gang with Joe Walsh was just so good, and man, that guy still rips. I was blown away by how his vocals have gone to shit. You can't understand anything that he says anymore. He can still hit the highs. You just can't understand him. But man, his guitar playing is still top notch for a guy 80 years old. Man, that's amazing.
So Damien Hair Metal said All Those Wasted Years by Hanoi Rocks. You knew which glam band, if you want to call them that, put out a great live album was Cinderella Live at the Key Club.
I almost grabbed that. I had that one in my hand too, but I thought the Dawkins was enough glam for.
Did anybody grab this one?
No, I don't like that album.
Wait,
you don't like this album?
I don't like. I love Dio. I don't like Dio singing Ozzy songs. I don't think. And he's the only one because I like
Halford.
All right, we're gonna get into that. I like this one better.
Oh, Ian Gillan?
Not Gillan. Who was the guy for like 5 hours? Tony Martin. Tony Martin. When he sings the all the eras, he sounds great. I don't know what it is with Dio. I just don't like Dio. I don't like his voice singing the early songs. It just never hit right for me. I have the box set over there that just came out, but
yeah, I don't have the box set.
I would love. I kicked myself for not buying that because that's like $200 now.
Really? Jeez.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered it, but yeah, this thing I like better than the official album. It's not re-recorded. The mix is better. And it's also got the entire show. It's 3 LPs. This thing's fantastic.
Yeah,
you can get it on CD too. But I also wanted to show.
You have that Dio live at Donington?
I have that. I love that album.
Yeah,
I think these are fantastic as well, though.
Yeah, that was the one I forgot, and I had to go back and get right there. Yeah, same thing. Heaven and Hell. This was the.
Both these are great.
Radio City Music Hall.
You know, the version of when I saw Heaven and Hell play live, I was just blown away by how heavy it sounded.
Yeah,
I mean, it just loses something on the studio album. It doesn't have the same energy, grit, and heaviness that it did live. And both the versions on here are just, I mean, they're just crushing.
Yep. Anybody got Aerosmith live bootleg, Scott?
Of course I do.
I didn't grab any of the Aerosmiths because I knew Scott would bring 9 of them.
Of course, yeah, 9 versions of this. All
right, well, here's what I did. What I brought. Let's see if I can do this. Like I said, if I really like an album, I have more than one copy. So I grabbed a few of the copies that I have. There's a radio promo, white label promo with the sticker on it. There's this actually is the way that it goes. It's sideways on this version.
Interesting.
And then, of course, the Japanese pressing, and then the original pressing with the they all have the posters and all that kind of stuff in it. But my favorite Aerosmith album is actually live album is actually this one, and I play this a lot. Live 75 from Central Park in New York. This is the most bootleg show of Aerosmith ever, and it's got another version, and another version, and another version,
Of course you do.
and another version,
What about that thing that they released
and
on
another version.
Record Store Day? That Live 71.
That one's
That's
great.
not
too.
live. That's
not
studio.
live?
Yeah.
It's demos.
But,
It's
oh,
fantastic.
I
Yeah,
thought it was
that's
a live studio recording, kind of like a BBC thing or whatever. But yeah,
It was demos. I mean, it could be recorded live. It's hard to tell, but that thing's really well done.
So you guys already showed Judas Priest, but I got to show my favorite Judas Priest live album.
It's funny. I grabbed
we've
that
talked
too.
I
we've
almost
talked
grabbed
about that more than once.
Man, this thing is. If you guys haven't checked this out, oh my
It's
god,
good. I grabbed
this
one
is
too.
amazing. I mean, he was just man.
The
he
whole
on
band was
fire.
just. I saw them on that tour, at a small country music club in Albuquerque. It was packed, but it was fantastic. Stood right in front of KK Downing and was just in awe the entire show. They were so good. And it was nice to be able to see Priest that live and that personal, in a club. I don't care if Halford wasn't there or not. They were great.
And from a few years earlier, I had to show this one too because I love this too.
Yep,
Fight
that's
Live,
good too.
Yeah.
it's fantastic. And this one, if you this is what they need to put this on CD. So they did a DVD, and then it also came with a remixed version of War of Words. It's fantastic. It's as good as the original. So definitely worth having that one if you run across it.
I've got
What
3
time we got?
creepers left.
I got a few left, so go for it.
Okay. Oh, all right. Well, here's one you probably don't know about, but maybe you do. Toxic Holocaust, Conjure in Command, artwork by the great.
Excuse me.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Okay, the European version has a second album, and this is a gatefold, and it has a live show from London, and it sounds great. Scott mentioned that some of the thrash shows don't sound that great. This one does. This one sounds exactly like you'd expect Toxic Holocaust to sound, and that's one of my favorite Toxic Holocaust. Do you want me just to go ahead and?
We showed this one already, right? I'm pretty sure. we
Okay.
did.
No, I
Oh,
purchased
yeah.
it and grabbed that one.
Yep, man.
Good.
Lemmy, the Lemmy at the pinnacle of Lemmy.
Are you still going, John? Go ahead.
No, I'm
sorry,
sorry. Okay. You probably have never heard of this, but this is live vitrification by Blood Incantation. It's kind of a funky. It's a clear vinyl, but then it has like an etching on it, so it's kind of fun.
Is
But
the
it's
etching on one side and the music's on the other?
yeah, and it's got a live. It's got all their tour dates from that year, and it has one song that isn't on any record. It's kind of it's a live remixed version of something off of Star Spawn. It's one of my favorites. Plus, it's got cool packaging and it's limited edition and blah blah blah. And I got one more.
Go for it.
Anybody? I got to keep the Osric Tentacles real. This is the live at the Pong Masters Ball. It's a double vinyl. It doesn't have any of the songs that the live Underslunky does, so that's kind of cool. You get more live. To your point, Scott, you get more live Osrics, and I didn't even include.
I don't have that one, by the way.
You need it. It's great sonically. It's brilliant.
I don't have either one of the live Osric Tentacles you just showed. They're both on my want list.
Okay, but I've got there's a forum, and it's like Mark Fields, who chimes in occasionally, who's a great sound engineer kind of guy. He's got some killer live sets. But anyway, I got this from a guy over in England, but they're all bootleg shows, and they're all fantastic, and they're all through the board recordings. And I think officially there are 200 Osric Tentacle live shows, but I only have about 100 of them.
That's what I miss about living in Japan. So when I lived in Japan and Yokohama, and they have them all over the place, they actually have bootleg stores where you can go in and it's all just live bootleg shows. And there was one in Yokohama where like they would have like Metallica, like 300 different live, and they were all really high quality. They didn't print low quality ones, but just about any band you could think of.
I know. I remember when Metallica was on Death Magnetic that you could actually buy a download card and then download.
I wanted to mention them because I love what they're doing now.
You can basically download the show you just went to.
They record every single show, and you can go on their website, and they do sales like every 6 months. And I picked them up for like $12 a piece. So this was the Atlanta show that I went to, and then I went and saw them in Florida. They did 2 shows in Florida. So this was the first night. The second night's in my car. The second night was the Full Black album. It was the anniversary. That weekend was the actual anniversary, and they did the Full Black album. So, and I love bands. Kiss was doing this on the 2011 tour.
Yep.
Where you could get it that same day. They had
Right.
somebody printing them, and you could
I
go
have some.
after the show and actually get a copy of the soundboard that you just listened to.
I've got several of them right up
Yeah.
there.
So I love
I
when
got
bands
some
do
too.
that.
My son and I did. We stood in line. We stood and waited for almost 2 hours after the show, though. It took them a long time. But I'm going to slam through some real quick. First of all, I only have one more CD left, but the Last from Nevermore.
I don't have that one.
Oh
The
wow,
Year
that's
of
a
the
live,
Voyager.
a live Nevermore.
Yeah,
I didn't know
Recorded
about it.
live.
That must be the only Nevermore I don't have.
live in Germany, October
Ditto.
11th, 2006.
Ditto.
Wow.
It's
I'm gonna have to find
Double
that.
CD.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Well, they're a
The band's
fantastic
tight,
band
they sound
live.
great.
Yeah, they're a live. They're punishing live, and every bit as good as their records.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. All right, here we go. What do we got here? This is probably one nobody cares about but me. But
I love that album. I love it.
I think this is better than their early 80s live album because the song choices are better. It's heavier. It's got stuff from the newer version of the band and it's got classic stuff. This thing's fantastic in my opinion. I think it's their best live album. But I'm a big Molly Hatchet fan. You probably have this one, Steve.
No, I don't actually.
What?
I would like to have that. I don't have that.
Live at the Marquee. This is from 84, I think.
This is the same
But yeah,
year that Dream Theater.
Well, that early
this-
Helix, a lot of people know them from the late 80s stuff, but their early 80s stuff is really killer 70s style hard rock, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, this is Live at the Marquee. There's Young and Restless, Rock You, Anything You Want, Give Me Good Lovin', Animal House, Heavy Metal Love. So it's not a full show, but it's a great album if you can find a copy of it. I know that this Brian Vollmer released this on CD and he's selling it through his website. The vinyl is kind of harder to find.
Oh, you know what? I have the CD version of that signed by Brian. You could do it through his website signed. Yeah, I do have it. I don't have the album though. I thought about that too. The CD is in my car, in my truck, because I was just listening to that box set that came out.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Surprised nobody's speaking of Raven and the British invasion. Surprised no one's mentioned Saxon. The Eagle has landed.
Yep, the Eagles Land is one that I pulled, so I'll
okay.
skip one.
All right, I'm ahead of myself, man, dude. That
no problem. Yeah, I almost pulled that one too. I love that album,
especially the 3 LP or the 3 CD version of this. Oh, it's so good.
Yep.
How about this one? This
everything from these guys, everything that they release is fantastic.
Dude, I love the Cal Jam records.
This is a Canadian pressing, which there's not much difference in it other than it's got picture sleeves rather than just paper sleeves like the US pressing had.
Yep.
So it's a bunch more photos from the show. Which is cool.
That the one with Nugent Marino?
Oh yeah, I guess I should say this is Cal Jam 2 features live music from Santana, Hart, Ted Nugent, Aerosmith, Frank Marino. It also has Rubicon on there, which is weird because they didn't play at the show. But
I love when they do stuff like that.
Yeah,
they were just trying to sell that.
That's creeper depth.
It doesn't even fit. I love this live album. The Aerosmith set and the Nugent set and the Marino set, they were all fantastic.
Yeah.
Here's another compilation, but I do play this one quite a bit.
I remember watching that on TV. Oh yeah, that is good.
Yeah, good one.
So this is live and heavy, live versions of Deep Purple, Nazareth, Motorhead, Def Leppard, Rainbow, Status Quo, Whitesnake, UFO, Gillan, and Black Sabbath. Ready? Another compilation. What is that?
Demon Sweat live from Danzig.
Hang on. We're gonna blow you up a little bit here.
I'm gonna
So
blow
we can
you
see
up,
you.
Steve. Boom.
Let's see here. There you go. Oh, Danzig. I see it now.
Yeah. I just saw him live a month ago, and I pulled this out and was listening to it in the truck.
Here's another
Yeah.
Yep, that's a great one too. Oh, it's got
Castle
Scamp,
Donington,
Dwarves,
Rainbow,
April Wine, Saxon.
Scorpions. This is not the one Twisted Sister is on, right? No, it's not.
You can get the full rainbow set too. I've seen the full rainbow set out there on bootleg from that show.
And I've got basically 2 more, I think. Here, hang on. Yeah,
Okay.
2 more
as well.
Because I'm gonna have to bolt right at 6 o'clock. I need to go.
No problem. We have like 5 minutes. We're good.
Okay,
About-
dude, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I love that Gary Moore live in
But then-
Japan.
I also think this one's great too.
Yeah.
Gary Moore live. This is a Japanese pressing of it.
Well, it's hard
With the
to
weird-
it's hard to beat Gary Moore live or Frank Marino live or Pat Travers live or
Yeah.
any of that era of guitar player live. Robin
One
Trower.
more. This is an EP, but I also really like this, which is from the same year. This one here
Yeah.
was recorded in Chicago in '87. This one was recorded in Milwaukee in '87. This is the full show. This is just an EP. But
Right.
when I bought my first CD player, this was one of the first CDs I purchased was Live Plus One.
So this next one I got to show you can still see these guys. I highly recommend you go check them out. They do one of the best live shows. That Metallica show, the 3 days in California or in Florida, there were 15 metal or 20 metal bands at that festival. This band blew them all away. Gojira live at Brixton Academy. These guys are amazing live. I've seen them probably 6 times now. Every time I've seen them, they were an opener for a bigger band, and every single time they were better than the bigger band was. These guys are just amazing live. All of their albums are good. For you guys that are into the death metal, check out their earlier stuff. For you prog guys, check out their later stuff, and everything in between is in there. And then this last one. So my all-time favorite live set is Sepultura, Under a Pale Gray Sky. It's the very last show with Max Cavalera, and he put it all out there on the stage. It's 2 CDs. It's a 10 out of 10. It's one of my all-time favorites. Well, about a month and a half before that show is this one. It's part of the Sepultura Roots box set that just came out. I was actually at this show. This is live at Ozfest. This was the very first Ozfest. I've talked about this before in my videos. Ozfest didn't start off as a big tour. It was 2 shows. It was one in Phoenix and one in California, and Sepultura played. This is from the Sepultura show that I was at in Phoenix, and this show was a 10 out of 10. Being there live was amazing, but to be able to relive this again, how many years later? This was 96. So 30 years later, just killer. That's my last one.
Well, like I mentioned in the opening, that's the beauty of the live album is you can kind of resurrect those feelings, thoughts, experiences at the live shows. Because, I mean, for a while there, during the pandemic, I thought we'd never see another live show. I thought they were going to continue to lock us out. And I knew guys that were out on world tours doing international stuff and getting stuck and just being, twiddling their thumbs while they're waiting for the world to decide what it's going to do. So, I mean, I relish the live thing, and it's great to have a copy that you can reflect back on. I had mentioned to somebody that I'd seen Zeppelin, and once again through one of these bootleg hoarder type guys, I found that show, that 77.
I love it. Yeah, there's so many. I've got bootlegs of a couple of the pre-shows I've been to. I saw Fear Factory on their first tour. I've got an official copy of that show. Actually, you mentioned Zeppelin. I'm going to see the Jason Bonham Zeppelin Experience next Friday. I've heard it's amazing.
Yeah, I will second that notion. It is truly amazing. They sound as good, if not better, than Zeppelin ever did live. And in fact, if you like Song Remains the Same, you're going to love that show because it sounds spot on.
They said that the band picked that singer. That was who was going to go on tour with Led Zeppelin when what's his name decided not to go on the tour. Plant and Page actually picked that singer that's singing for Jason Bonham as a replacement for Zeppelin.
Yeah, they're awesome. You're gonna dig it a lot. So, anyway, I guess that's it. That was an awkward dismount, but yeah, this went off okay. Even though we had a little problem with the link, and but we're just scatter shooting, right? We're just
Early
sitting around.
technical difficulties. We'll get it figured out.
Well, that's part of the intrigue of the whole show. I think is we've always had technical meltdowns, and shortages here and there, but we appreciate everyone hanging out with us for an hour or so, and man, it just continues to grow. It's pretty awesome, and here we are on the backside of 200 episodes, heading towards 300 or maybe 1,000. Who knows? Maybe we'll be famous. Scott, man, he really pimps that Anger Is Art. I'm going to have to invest some more time in that thing.
I wonder if Scott had something to do with that record.
I wonder.
Did I send you a copy, John?
No.
I didn't?
No.
I can. I can send you a CD copy. I don't have any vinyl copies.
Sure, that'd be great. But anyway,
I did send you the downloads, right? To play on your show.
No.
No. Oh, I could do that as soon as we get off the off
Okay.
here. So.
All right. Well, I'm out the door. I'm going to go visit the Kiki in the hospital and see the Metal Queen. And anyway, check me out on Instagram at Carcass John Art. And if you feel like having your head lopped off as you drive home, 6:00 Central Standard Time on Deep Dallas Radio, join me in the crypt for some pretty heavy stuff. I've got in fact, I did another theme show for this Friday. It's like every song has something. It has either crypt in the name or the title or the title of the band. So it's kind of fun.
Cool.
But Scott, got anything for your bailout?
You can find me on YouTube under No Life to Metal, or just search Scott Waters. You can find me at No Life to Metal on Instagram. You can find me under Scott Waters at Facebook. So I'm easy to find if you're interested in chatting, or check out my channel on YouTube, because I'm always looking for people to chat with there as well. So, and Steve,
Harmless Rebel.
Find me on YouTube at Harmless Rebel. Nice and easy.
Oh, alrighty. Well, you guys know how we finish on this thing, so give me a second to figure out how to do the ending here, and there it is. And then we can now do it. All right, ready?
All right.
1, 2,
3. Metal will prevail.
And now I'll just let you guys hang for a second. And
of course, it looks silly.
Figure it out.
Pick your nose.